You are listening to Invisible Not Broken, a podcast where we talk about life with chronic illness and everything that goes with it. We interview community leaders, compassionate practitioners, and chronic warriors we just find flat out fascinating. I'm Eva Minkoff, your co-host, fibromyalgia warrior, and founder of Wellacopia, the matching site that helps you find your ideal practitioners for your individual needs. Today is a very special episode because it's our 100th episode. So Monica and I decided that the best way to celebrate 100 episodes and 2 years of the Invisible Not Broken podcast would be to interview each other. In this episode, Monica and I talk about our personal tips to manage life from the mattress. We hope you'll learn something new, try something out, and if not, hopefully we gave you a good giggle anyway. All right, here we go.
I feel like we're doing like a show at Broadway. I mean, this is as close as I'm going to get.
All right, I'm shimmying. You know why I'm shimmying? Why am
Yeah,
I
I can definitely see the ballet influence right here and now. You are putting this up on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, I'm recording right now.
Excellent. Excellent. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Monica and Eva today. Ooh.
I feel like we're doing a variety show, and I am going to be so lost. Like, I'll be the magician's assistant, just like taking my arm out of socket and just holding it there, going, "See, look, it can float."
We've all got our talents.
We do. I can turn myself into a Dali Salvador sculpture.
That is quite a talent. You should put that on your resume.
I was thinking it would make me highly employable.
Maybe a little drawing of you too. You're a wonderful artist.
We'll definitely work on that CV.
Mm-hmm. So today, you and I are doing our own. We're interviewing each other, I guess, because
exciting.
A very special celebration. It is our 100th episode of Invisible Not Broken. Ooh.
I'm so shocked when you called and told me that. I was like, what? How is that? You were the one who told me I'd been on the air for 2 years. I've lost track of all time. That was really awesome and shocking.
Yep. Less than a month ago, we passed 2 years, most of which has been done by you.
Well, I'm so glad you came on, though. I really couldn't have kept it going without you. You really took the reins when I was not well enough to do any of this, and you've done awesome.
Thank you so much. Everyone listening, I hope you like what I've been doing. If you don't like what I've been doing, you're welcome to tell me and see if there's anything there, or sorry.
Or, we even talk about the other podcasts that we love. So you do have the option, and we are happy to help you. But if you're here for the 100th episode, we are going to be talking about
the new normal when you are in bed, whether that be for a long period of time or a short period of time. And Monica and I are experts on each of the different versions of that, because Monica does spend a little bit more time in bed.
I'm methoding. I'm doing this from bed. Like, I am actually right here, right now, not leaving my bed, at least for today or maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. So a very relevant topic for you right now.
So relevant.
Yes. And while it is not for me today, I do spend a decent amount of time bedbound, although never so far in my life, never more than 48 hours. And it's only a few times a year. So far, I don't think it's ever happened, at least for a 24-hour period, more than 5 times in 1 year. But of course, there are definitely long afternoons or so where it ain't happening. Life ain't happening today. But the point of this episode is actually to talk about how life does go on and what you should be doing or what you could be doing while you're in bed.
Especially when you don't get to put a pause button because you might have small people who depend on you, or other responsibilities that just still need your attention, even if you are managing it all from Mattress.
Managing it all from Mattress.
Mm-hmm. That's my new tagline. We're gonna run with it.
I like. Well, the first thing that I thought of when it comes to managing life from the mattress is that it's probably the only time in my life where I do not feel guilty at all about being out of commission or not being able to do something. I have the Jewish guilt of not being able to do things all the time. But when it comes to the flare ups, the days where I am in bed, all the guilt goes out the window. I'm like, nope, everything's canceled. I'll let everyone who needs to know that I'm not available. And I kind of say it with pride is not the right word, but with ease. I'm like, it's okay, Eva. You got to take your time. This is what your day is going to be like. And that's totally fine.
Man, I need some of that. I need more of that. I get tremendous guilt about being in bed.
It might be because mine is more of a one off here and there, but it's because it's such an extreme from my norm. My norm is I live a generally I don't know, normal life is a weird thing to say, but it doesn't inhibit every single thing that I do. I feel pain all the time, I feel discomfort all the time, but I'm able to do most things. It's when I am bedbound or having a really bad flare that I can't really do much of anything outside of bed. So I just succumb to it and go, okay, this is my new normal for this period of time, whether it be 5 hours, 48 hours, we shall see.
Okay, do you ever look forward to it though?
Interesting. Interesting. Do I look
I mean, this is real talk, and I can actually say that like I can sometimes feel it coming on, and there'll be times where like, especially if I see a show that I'm excited about coming on Netflix, where I'm like, could this just line up right? That would be great if it could just line up, like just for like when Victoria hits, like I could just know that I would be in bed anyway and I could watch all of it, or this book that I just started today because I got stuck in bed. And I've read 300 pages so far, and I'm like, there are worse things than I got stuck in bed today.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what I think about when I am I don't know why I say out of commission when I'm out of commission. I don't even really know what that means. I do lift my spirits by thinking about what are all the things I could do that I don't normally do or that I put off because they're not a high priority, but I really want to be doing them. And just a side note, and I don't know how this is going to come off, but I've definitely thought in the past or like daydreamed about when I would, okay, a good example is my diary. I've written a diary since I was 11. I am now at this recording 29. So I've been writing a diary for a long time. I used to write it more frequently, but while I have revisited it a number of times, like parts of it, I always think to myself, when am I actually going to reread all of this? Oh, probably sometime in the future when I'm in hospital, which is such a weird and terrible thought to have. But it's like, oh, I'm a human. I have issues. I'll probably be in hospital at some point, or I guess at bedbound. And I think that's when I'm going to reread my diary.
So, have you ever sat down and reread your diaries?
I have a few times now, and I say reread, it's like, random, random snippets throughout my life. I'll say to myself, I really want to revisit college, the early years.
And did you learn anything interesting from reading, like what you were thinking in 19-year-old you?
Yeah, I was psycho, but but I think we're all a little out there at 19. Sorry for anyone who's 19 listening. You'll figure it out later. But I have done that when I'm having one of those days where I'm in bed. If I have the ability to read at all, it's easy because it's my own words. I usually have grammatical errors and don't know what I'm saying anyway. Back over many years ago, and so it's kind of fun. And it's like talking to myself.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oscar Wilde said that you should always, like, I'm gonna mangle the quote horribly, but it was basically you should always keep a diary with you because you should always have something sensational to read.
That's such a flattering way.
It's an Oscar Wilde sort of like statement.
I am not Oscar Wilde, but all right.
None of us are. I would say I one of my favorite authors, people to study ever. I just love him.
Understandably. So if you don't have a diary, I guess the equivalent of that would be something I know you do, Monica, is revisit something creative that you've done or be creative. I
I don't do a lot of revisiting, like ever. I've I'm not the biggest fan of looking backwards. That's not out of some like deep, amazing, like inspirational thing of never look back. It's just more I don't at all. I do. I am a writer, so I just finished a book, and then I also run another podcast where I get to research all the ridiculous, insane things I get entertained by, and I'd say that's been really fun to do from bed. I don't always have hands and fingers that work, so I use a lot of dictation. Google Docs is awesome. So if you're someone who's like, I would love to keep a diary, but my hands hurt, you can just, I think Google Docs is free and you can just hit the microphone. It does a really good job of text to speech, like amazingly impressive job of text to speech.
You've actually just opened my my use of Google Docs because I do that all the time with my phone.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm having a lot of that burning pain in my hands from fibro. I do speech to text on my phone, but
I posted that wrong. Yeah.
I didn't realize I could do that on Google Docs. That's fabulous. I'm on Google Docs all the time. You've changed
Yeah.
the world.
It's yes, I know Google's evil. I'm totally aware. I know Amazon's evil too, but like there are certain things that as a disabled person I've just had to go, you know what? I'm going to embrace the evil because it's the only thing will get done. So I find that really helpful. If there's other writers out there where you're like, my fibro fog keeps me from actually writing, or it's too hard for me to like keep my ideas in check, there's this amazing writing software called Scrivener. And it's a little hard on the uptake. If you decide to do this, watch YouTube video first. It's been great for blogging, and because I do research for my other podcast on history, it's been fantastic because I can just control copy paste my research from the web onto this, and then I can create my script for the podcast in an easy way. And for my novels, oh my god, it makes life so much easier because you can actually like plot things out, and then you can just, it keeps you organized in a way that my little like fogged out brain is like, we're just going to do esoteric writing because I can't possibly come up with a beginning, middle, and end. So it's been fantastic to actually be able to get novels finished.
It's a very cool resource.
It's one of my favorites. It's a little expensive. I think it's $50, but they'll let you try it for, I think, 30 days for free. And when NaNoWriMo comes up in October, they always run huge sales.
Nice. Well, good. That's only a month
Yeah. Is it only a month? Oh my God.
now.
No.
Right now, at this recording, it is September 9th.
No, I'm still in August. This isn't okay. Ah.
It hit 55 degrees here today in Rochester, New York, and I am not happy.
Okay, we can switch. We can switch anytime. I will happily trade with you.
Oh, I like 55. It's great for the fibro when it's dry and it's cool. It's more that I live in Rochester, New York, which is basically the North Pole for half of the year, and it's coming a little early. A little early. I might be in bed more this year for that reason.
Well, then this will be a good one to like look back on later where you're like, hey, I could write my novel right now. I'm just gonna download Scrivener and get it done.
Actually, speaking of writing, so I do a bit of writing myself. I don't release it to the public, but when I have fibro fog or like I want to be creative, but I'm foggy and so I can't really produce my normal work, I write what's called blah poetry, which is kind of what it sounds like. It's really just, I think poetry is always best when it just comes from the heart and just leaves you. It's like these really out there thoughts that gotta get onto paper or a computer screen. And it's the best when I'm out of it because it really is just a mishmash of things that might not make sense or they don't seem like they make sense at the time, but then it's actually pretty remarkable how great they could be afterwards. I love rereading something I wrote during fog afterwards.
What do you notice the differences?
Well, sometimes I'm proud of myself that I was able to formulate such intricate thoughts. That doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it happens. And I'm like, good job, Eva. And other times, so when I write notes in general, especially by hand with a notepad, I might not even need to look at them again to remember what I wrote and remember the experience of why I wrote them. I think that's pretty common. Or the fact that handwriting instills that memory more so than if
Mhm.
that's what I mean. Uh, but it's crazy how I could reread something I wrote while I'm in bed with fog and have absolutely no recollection of having written that or had those thoughts. It's kind of like browning out.
Isn't that crazy where like I've done that before where I like especially back in college where I was working 3 jobs and I was doing full graduate school and like I would like turn in papers, they'd be like, I don't even remember writing this. Like how did this even happen?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, and maybe I don't know, but the definition from what I've heard of browning out means not blacking out. You're like fully awake, things are happening, but your brain's just not there. You have no idea. You don't remember it the next day.
Those
Um,
of us with children call that parenting.
oof. I know that from people talking about drinking too much.
I think we all have about the same decision making capabilities too.
I see. Speaking of children, we were talking about relationships from
Mm.
from uh, from the mattress.
And this is not going to be as sexy as it sounds. Like, if you want the sexy talk, tune into the talks I have with Dr. Phillips, who's a sex therapist. This is not what you're hoping for.
No, especially when we're in our bed bound mode. That's definitely
Actually, I will disagree with you there, but we'll keep it clean for right now.
okay then. Yeah, for me, I definitely take the that opportunity to have long walks on the beach with my husband without being on the beach.
That's excellent. I had like very lofty ideas of how I would parent and how I would be a wife, and like all of it involved no technology. Like I would not have technology in my bedroom because that is not what I had in my head as like what this would be good with, and that's gone off to the side drastically. I now have a big screen like for my computer is in my bedroom now because I can't get to the living room to do movie nights. And we love our 1950s sci-fi horror movies. And so now we have like everyone just like crawls up on the bed and we watch it in the bedroom, like, which is fun. We get everything together and everyone curls up in bed with me and we watch, you know, Plan 9 from Outer Space or literally anything where you could see like the zipper on the back of the monster or like yeah.
That's wonderful. That's part of a new normal, right? It's not what you expected for
No.
part of your life to be, but that's how it works, and it's really lovely. Still, maybe you have technology in the bedroom. But
Yes, I had to let go of ideals. I had to let go of, and I don't know if they were my ideals. I remember my mom kept saying that I shouldn't have technology around the kids when they're growing up, and if you spend any time as a looking female person, you just get barraged with policing of how you're supposed to take care of your family, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to take care of yourself, how self care can become incredibly stressful when everyone's telling you exactly how to do it. And letting go of everyone else's expectations for what my life was supposed to look like was hard. I'm still working on it, but it's been really helpful. Like, it's actually kind of funny because I was a graduate student for literature, and a lot of my friends are, we all love our books, and some people get a little snobby about like, I have to read a book, I have to turn the pages. This other stuff is just BS. It's just not right to read classics on your iPad. It's just wrong. And yeah, I love books. I love holding them, but I had to let go of being the cool person over on the side, like, getting that whole togetherness with everyone else complaining about how bad technology is with books. And I had to go, you know what? It's either I read it on the iPad or I don't read it because I can't hold a heavy book for a long period of time. So it was letting go of that too, like the ability to whine about technology with others because technology is what makes any part of my life possible.
thank you, technology, for your existence.
Right. I mean, like I get why everyone's bitching about how everything was so much better back then, but I don't get the idea that like all of this has made us less social. I'm like, what the? do you think we're all doing online? I mean, all we're doing is being social. What it's changed is that it changed our availability to strangers, which, as a person who looks very female, will say that probably makes a lot of us a lot safer. Like, we aren't able to be approached and interacted with by strangers, but saying that we are using that technology has ruined the socialness of humans. Please forgive me, everyone. I am on so many painkillers right now. The fact that I can even string a sentence together, I'll be impressed. I'm impressed. But I think that's the only thing that's changed, because, like, if you look at everything we do online, it's all social.
It's true. Now I love to play devil's advocate, and this is a really good topic in which to do that.
Sure.
Most of the time,
I have a teenager. Go ahead and argue with me.
no,
It's pretty
I'm
much
actually
80% of my discussions.
no, I'm saying that literally that's how I am. Is I always play devil's advocate with most things. Not all things. There are some things it's just black and white for me, but so usually I like that you're saying this, because usually I hear people bad mouthing the internet or technology all the time, because we do have a little bit too much of it in certain respects, and in some ways I think our social lives have been um, misshapen in various ways. But I love that you're looking at the positive side of it, which is what I always try to do and what we should look at. Right now, we are recording a podcast. We are
Mhm.
having thousands of you wonderful people listening, and that wouldn't be possible.
And
Um,
you and I are we're a continent apart right now. Like,
yeah, that
that's
too.
crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah. Monica's outside San Francisco. I'm well, way outside New York City, but sure. And
We've got a continent in between us. Yeah.
right, exactly. My co-founder from Wellacopia lives on another continent. I definitely have friends I've never met in person. So there really are some wonderful things about connecting online, for sure. I don't know how we got in this topic, but yeah, no. Actually, this is perfect. That is a wonderful thing to do when you are in bed. If you want to be social and you can't be social, of course you can talk to friends, like FaceTime or video chat your friends who maybe you want to catch up with. I know I do that. I think you said you do that too, Monica.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, but then
Like, it's so helpful. Like, I'm much older than you, and, like, I remember watching these things on, like, The Saint, and all of a sudden there'd be like they're showing like the new technology which is remotely possible, and they would be writing notes to each other on a computer, and they would see it and they'd write a note back, and I was like, oh my God, that's gonna be possible. What? And then you watch some other sci-fi movie and there'd be two people talking on screens, like, from other, like, countries, and I'm like, oh, is that something that's gonna come up? Is that gonna be something we're gonna have? Like, it just, it's always floored me. I've always been a tech person. I've always been fascinated by technology. I was a teenager when we got our first, like, crazy Macs and the cool colors, and we had to basically listen to Skrillex, like, two cats mating in techno, for, like, the AOL to come up. It's like, that's the possibilities always seem so amazing of what the equalization, I think, of technology has always been something that's really interested me. If that, like, from disability, where some of us could actually still teach or still have jobs because we can work from home. I mean, that's an incredible equalizer. The fact that in Apple University, you can take for free classes from MIT. You can go to school online. Like, all of these things are really impressive. The amount of knowledge that can be shared between doctors. I don't know if anyone's been watching Diagnosis, but that's, that is like, wow, that's fun. I remember watching House when it came out, just because I hadn't gotten a diagnosis yet, so I'd watch all those shows, and just to see if anyone like me showed up. And so the woman who's the consultant for that has a show on Netflix where she's basically using the internet to help diagnose or to help with treatment options for sick people. And that's just mind bending to me. That's pretty fantastic use of this social network that we all have.
and it's through connecting them, right? Like gathering. I haven't seen it yet, so it's on my. I'll explain why. It's actually related to what we're talking.
No, all good.
But yeah, actually I love my friends for this. I've had 5 different people in the last 2 weeks text me or call me and say you need to watch this documentary, not documentary, this show,
A docu show, docu series.
because they know about my illness and Wellacopia, and they go, "This is perfect." I said, "I know, just wait, I'll get to it." I agree because my thing, and you might gag at this, and it's fine if anyone gags at this, but I don't watch TV very often, except for when I have a specific movie I want to watch. When I watch TV to wind down, I need to basically brown out and watch reruns of Friends and How I Met Your Mother and Sex and the City and all this stuff that like I watched growing up that just put me in this happy numb space where I just don't want to deal with the rest of the world. And that's me. I tried what oh, one exception. I did watch Game of Thrones. I'm not sure how I got into Game of Thrones given the shows that I watch, but yes, I got hooked.
I mean, I if I watch anyone who's watching with me has to deal with the feminist rants I will give, especially with How I Met Your Mother or
Oh, oh,
uh,
I said that the other night to my husband. I was like, this show is unbelievably sexist and misogynistic, and I love it. It's funny, but I really do think that all the time.
yeah, it's hard. Like I have a really hard time going back and watching shows I used to love. And then I'm watching them now going like even House, like I'm watching House going, poor Cuddy. I mean, like the amount of sexual harassment that woman had to deal with just to get her job done is just mind boggling. And we all watched it going, yeah, that's how a workplace is, right? And now we're saying that no, that's not how they should be, and that's not the price you have to pay to be at work. Like it's, I have a 12-year-old daughter right now, so this is like so in my forefront of my mind. Like oh, well, watch Princess Bride is my favorite movie when I was growing up, and then I'm watching it going, yeah, because the guys are awesome with great dialogue. And I'm sorry, did she just try to kill herself again? Like, can she do anything else? Like, literally anything else other than try to commit suicide? Like, can she be funny for a minute? Can she, like, oh, it just drove me nuts. And so my daughter's watching this, just like, why am I watching this? Like, we had her watch Star Wars, and she just looked at her dad. She's like, really? Really? She told him to leave her alone. She told him she did not want him anywhere nearby, and he just punched her right by her face, and she couldn't get away. And that's assault. And I'm looking at him going, I know I'm the feminist here. I remember loving this movie when I saw it, and now it's like you can't not see it anymore. So I go back to Jane Austen now. I watch a lot of Jane Austen.
Yeah, it really is a blessing and a curse. I've been thinking it more and more over the last couple years, which I think is not surprising, given things that have happened in the last couple of years. But it was our norm. Our norm was like, this is the workplace, right? And even to this day, while it's not okay, I'm not surprised. I'm never surprised when someone's misogynistic or there's sexual harassment, anything like that. Even, yeah, it's a.
What I
It's,
think is really cool though is like I think why we're able to see it more. I swear I'll circle back. Why we're able to see it more is because when the Me Too movement happened and a bunch of women won awards, each one of them when they were standing up giving their speech was like, I will be calling your offices, decision maker offices, and I have all these projects I want to greenlight. So now we have these incredible TV shows that are fantastic in-depth looks at complicated characters, men and women alike. And we have some really interesting trans characters that I was like, thank goodness, the actual trans people making decisions about the show, making decisions on casting. I mean, seriously, Pose is awesome. Love Pose. But we have like a lot of shows where now the people who actually experience those lives are the storytellers and are the decision makers. And I'm so psyched because it's really changed how I can watch shows before that happened, where people who didn't live those lives were the decision makers on how the story was told. And that it doesn't ring as true or as interesting. And now these new shows that I've been watching, I'm like, wow, this is like such a like, wow, this feels real to me. This feels interesting to me. So it's the great thing about being in bed is I actually have gone through most of Netflix at this point. I think I've actually cleared most of Netflix, most of Amazon Prime, most of Hulu. I've seen almost everything. So I guess I have like a more test cases to look at now.
you could probably help them with their algorithm. Just
I don't think they like my algorithm. It's a lot of like my default is I'm not kidding when I say my default is Jane Austen. That is like my go-to is anything Jane Austen. I will watch a billion times.
my favorite movie is Pride and Prejudice, but I won't lie, I like the new one.
The movie was a good intro, but I mean, Colin Firth and the like
I know
six
that
hours, the 6 hours are worth it. Like those are great.
That being said, I actually don't think I've watched all of the original, or maybe none of the original.
Oh, yes, now the next time you're in bed, you have something to do for 6 hours.
I will write that down as my next activity for when I'm in bed. So
Or
yeah,
Doctor Who. I mean, Doctor Who, you have got, like, if you wanna go original to now, you've got, like, months ahead of you. If you want, like, just, like, from Eccleston on, you've got, like, a good, few weeks to
so in general, feel good shows or movies are definitely a go-to. I don't think that's really news to anyone. Maybe news. News is not necessarily good.
No, no, my husband actually, like, cuts me off at, like, 10 o'clock from Twitter. He's like, "Okay." Not like we have that kind of relationship where it's a decision-making thing. It's just more of a, like, "Hey, I'd actually like to spend time with you, and I'd like you not to be screaming and ranting. It'd be great if you stop frothing at the mouth. That would be good, like, before bed."
Yikes. Well, yeah, in general, whether it be shows or news or social media or movies, whatever is a feel good for you is what's important. Not what other people recommend you should do or not, but what is going to
A
make
lot
you.
of people have recommendations, don't they? Like, when you're sick, it's amazing
Oh,
how often the word "should" comes out.
yeah. I actually have been watching out for that word a lot lately for myself.
It's one of my least favorite words.
Yeah. You guys can totally tally them up for me if I happen to say them during the podcast and let me know. I don't know. But yeah, I feel that we're told we should watch X, Y, and Z, and I might give it a try. Look, if someone I like is recommending that I do something, I'll look into it. But there's no point in forcing yourself to do something just because it's a work of art, according to someone. There are so many shows that people
Mm,
say I should watch. But I know myself and that I'm an empath and I embody people's emotions too much. And especially when I watch them happen. So that's why I watch Friends because the the most devastating thing that happens is Ross and Rachel break up, which got me pretty sad. But like, that's
I remember that. Wow.
about as devastating as it gets.
How do you deal with other people's jealousy that get to be that like you get to be in bed? I get that a lot of like, oh, I would love to have the time you have to be in bed, or I can only imagine the things I would create. It's almost like they're pressuring me, like I should be like reaching this level of like artistic excellence because I have this time to be in bed that I would be wasting if I was watching Friends all day or
Right. So, well, that brings me back to your question of, do I look forward to being in bed? I don't look forward to having to be forced to be in bed. That's for damn sure. I look forward to those days that really never seem to happen, like a lazy Sunday where I really got everything out of the way that I need to. And it's just maybe I'm going to cook that day and do whatever I want. But that so rarely happens because I'm such an outgoing person. So if I'm not doing work, where am I going to be? I'm going to be out. I'm going to go see friends, go do things. And as much as I love to be in my own space and do whatever I want, think whatever I want, like, I mean, just in a lazy way, not proactively, uh, I clearly don't love it that much because I never do it. Like I never set aside the time to do it. So when it comes to being forced to be in that situation, I always try to look at the glass half full. Obviously, I do not all the time, but I think it would be close to my default. I'm good at getting there. Happy about that. And so I will think to myself, oh, this is my chance. I never make the time for this. So, all right, I'm in bed. It's not for a good reason, but now is my chance to do all those things I say that I'm going to do on a, let's say a lazy Sunday. So when it comes to jealousy, do I find that people are jealous? Probably as someone who experiences this infrequently, respectively. Uh, I don't think I get that. I think I just get a lot of poor use, as we were saying, and people
mm,
feeling bad for me and so on. And in my case, maybe because they're less frequent, I appreciate people acknowledging that it's hard and that it's not normal for me. It's not normal for anyone, but it's even not normal for me. That I will reassure them. Look, it happens and it's fine, but thanks for recognizing that it's difficult. So I don't think I get any. So if said anyone's ever said that to me, I clearly brushed it off. Let's put it that way.
You're good at that. That's good. That's a good skill.
Yeah, you don't understand, or I'm just gonna ignore that. No biggie. You're human.
I need to get better at that. The brushing off and like not taking offense. I need to get way better at that.
It's funny. So I'm a Taurus. It's funny. I'm weird about horoscopes. I like kind of believe, kind of don't. I just find that it fits certain people really, really well. Believe is a strong word here, but I'm a Taurus slash Aries cusp. Apparently, I fit everything very well. Tauruses are known for being stubborn, and I remember when I learned that, I was really confused because I find myself to be one of the least stubborn people. In that, I like playing devil's advocate, and I like seeing views from all sides, and I'm open to other people's suggestions. I'll have my own opinions, but I like being open. Except when I think someone has wronged me. If I feel that you have wronged me or seriously misunderstand me, I can't let it go. So that's
Mhm.
being very open with everyone right now. And yeah, it's a hard thing to let go. I've gotten better at how I deal with it, like realizing that maybe I shouldn't just write random people letters. This was something I did when I was a kid, by the way. I don't do this now.
Yeah, don't piss Eva off. Like I don't have the energy to get angry at you and write you angry letters, so don't piss her off.
It was in the, it was like, I don't know if you would call it passive. I wouldn't necessarily yell, but I would just write to people like, this is what you don't understand, or this is why you're wrong.
All right, so everyone, if you want to carry a grudge, you can do your letter writing when you're stuck in bed. That's definitely an option
Yeah.
for you.
So holding grudges, oh, what is that quote? It's something like holding a grudge is like giving
Oh, Roosevelt. It's yeah, I know it.
what's a Roosevelt quote?
His wife, Eleanor Roosevelt. It was taking poison. It's like giving someone else poison or taking poison yourself and expecting the other person to die from it.
Right. Yes,
That was it. There we go.
that is.
Together, we can make that happen.
I think hearing that quote years ago actually shifted the way I look at just being mad at people in general. Um,
Fair?
but talking about, why was I talking about being stubborn and Taurus and things? Um, wronging me.
Well, let's go to what is your go-to when you're stuck in bed? Like what's your top like things that you'd be like, hey, random friend who is now stuck in bed after surgery or something's going on. Here's the things that here's my recommendation, my top 5.
The top 5. Okay, so catching up socially when possible, I think is a really, really great way to use that time. You could say wisely in a happy, um, I guess, proactive way to make yourself feel good, even if you don't feel good in all other respects.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally good versus physically good. And that could be someone you live with. It could be someone you do a video chat with, like we said. Could be someone online you've never met. Just engaging in positive conversation, I think, would be number one. And number two, and this may seem obvious to people, but for some reason I don't think it's obvious, is sleep. But not like we all need to sleep, but use that time to really enjoy sleep. Don't make it like I'm I'm just lazy, so I might as well sleep, but I get to sleep mentality. I get to really use this time to rejuvenate my body and my mind and listen to my body. Whatever it needs right now, I'm going to give it. So it's another part of my experience when I'm in bed. I just I check out, and I think I'm like, it's okay. This is the positive side to my experience, and sleep is a big part of that for me. And I highly recommend that people look at sleep as something they get to do, not just they have to, or that there's nothing else to do, so I might as well. Wonderful thing. And we need it. So that's
True.
just, I don't know if that makes sense. It's like proactive sleep rather than passive sleep, I guess. If that's making any sense. Um, we talked about being creative. I think being creative in general, and that doesn't mean drawing. It doesn't mean writing. It doesn't even have to mean singing. It just means creating something new, something that hasn't existed before. So an example of something I do is if I have the brain power to do so, I will create recipes.
Mm.
So I like doing meal prep as often as possible because I have to feed my hubs because he does not cook anything. And 4 days when I'm not feeling well or not available, I do a lot. I freeze a lot of my home cooked meals. So in case I feel that I'm repeating things pretty often, I want to take some time and write down recipes. But because I don't follow recipes, I am the worst. I've never followed a recipe in my life. Uh, I read a lot of recipe books and then I just come up with a bunch of stuff and see how it works out. And that takes time. It actually takes a lot of time and brain power, but I feel like it's the brain power that I don't need to do normal work. Like I can do it when I'm foggy. It's different for me. So that's just an example of something I create that I don't need my work brain for, but I use some other brain that seems to be functioning during fog times. um, that was what, four,
I
three?
think so. I was hoping you were keeping count. I told you when we started this, you're gonna have to lead because
Yeah, I got other things, but the general are listen to your body and sleep being a big part of that. Create something, have good chats with peeps, and maybe it was only three.
uh, well, I'll suggest something then because like I am big on budgeting. So if you're stuck in bed and you're at all interested in reading, and like my daughter is super into graphic novels, she doesn't like reading, and those are expensive, by the way. Like getting the new graphic novels are like $16-17 each. So we discovered Libby, which is an app you can download. I know here in the United States, I don't know about outside the United States, but in the United States, it's a library. And if you have a library card with your local library, you can sign in with the library number and you can download all the books. Like I think it's 10 books you can have on in rotation at one time, but it's all the new stuff that's out and it just goes directly to your iPad and then you can return it from your iPad so you don't have to drive, you don't have to go anywhere. And they have a ton of graphic novels, a lot of cookbooks, which I go through and I'll like, I love cooking when I can. And so I grab the recipes and save them in a file and all the sci-fi fantasy that I adore. That's like 10, like 1,000 pages is usually about the standard fantasy novel. So I can just read it on the iPad. So that's my big tip for being stuck in bed because when you're stuck in bed, you can't get to a library and get out books.
That's a great resource. I'm definitely going to be looking
One of my favorites and free. I'm a big fan of the free there. That's
way the free. Ooh, I think we could also talk about different products to use. Ooh,
ooh.
someone that I interviewed. Oh yes, Jenny Grover. Her interview will be coming up next. She talked about how she has baskets around her house,
Mm.
and one of them, of course, is next to her bed, where it's all the like wellness things that she wants that and things that will make her happy that she has ready to go if she just basically falls into bed and can't get out for a long time. And I love
Smart.
it. I have a little bag that I keep in my backpack that I bring basically everywhere. So that's one thing I have. And I actually, yeah, I do have some stuff by my bed too, including CBD, some oils, painkillers if I really need them, but they're sort of like on my emergency side. Um, Moisturizer because it just makes me feel good. I feel pampered when I put on moisturizer that smells nice. Like, oh, I'm not like a blob in bed. I'm being pampered right now.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah,
I keep my physical therapy stuff by the bed because I can end up in bed for like weeks at a time. But even if it's just for a day, I don't like to miss any of my physical therapy. So I have like the stretchy band things and light hand weights, and I have an alarm that goes off every hour. So every hour I do at least something. And if it's one of the days where like top to bottom is finished, I just do muscle isolation every hour.
that's a great tip. Yeah, if
It's
you're
important. Otherwise, you can lose a lot of muscle tone fast, like really fast.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely necessary, if possible, when you're in bed for a really long period of time. Uh, Also, I do recommend if you can get out of bed, even if it's hard at the time. Like I know you, Monica, maybe right now that may or may not be possible because you've got a joint dislocation situation going on. So it literally might not be possible. But uh, to just think of it like an airplane, it might be really, really difficult. But even just getting up a little bit and going back down
Yeah, I
is,
saw an episode a while ago on the ladder, which is like you have your baseline ladder where it's like the first step up the ladder is like just getting to the bathroom and brushing your teeth. Like, okay, so I did that one thing. Great. Is there a second step to the ladder? Okay. And you will absolutely, if you're like me, you will absolutely fall off the ladder at some point during this routine. But it's really important for me to at least try to get up and move. Even if I think like there's plenty of mornings where I wake up and I'm like, nope, 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 not gonna happen. But I've found that sometimes when I get up and start moving, my joints will actually relocate on their own as I'm stepping around. And it will, I know it's weird, but it'll actually like, I'll be able to do way more than I thought I could do when I was just laying in bed.
ooh, yes, that's actually a good thing to bring up. Uh, you
And
may,
by the way, everyone, this is just personally like Ava and me. And like Ava has fibromyalgia. I have Ehlers-Danlos, fibro, mast cell, and POTS. Is that it? I think that's it. So like we're talking from people with these disorders. Like you might have a very different disorder where what we're talking about is like I can't get out of bed. There's no way. Just not me. That's totally fine if that's not something you can do. But maybe you can find some value in what we've talked about like, you know, the app Libby or like keeping moisturizer by your bed. Like take what you can from this episode. We're not saying everyone can do these things.
yeah,
All right, that was my PSA.
that was great. If we just pretend that was at the beginning.
Pretend it was at the beginning. Yeah.
Um, so, oh yeah, so to add on to what you were saying is not just getting up, walking around, seeing what your capabilities are, but the general, yeah, actually seeing how far you can go. You might not know, you might feel the same in bed, but you actually might be better than you think sometimes when you get up. You didn't realize that something has subsided, or maybe you're not as dizzy anymore. It's just, it's
Yeah,
good to,
but if you're dizzy, make sure that you're
oh
nearby
yeah,
grab things.
I was just going to add, of course, you want to take precautions, like don't just jump out of bed, but give yourself little tests, like you said. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
Or
my test is coffee. I have my coffee maker on the other side of the house. So if I want my coffee in the morning, I actually do have to try and see if I can make it to the kitchen. And that's one heck of a carrot. Like coffee is a very big carrot for me.
I wish it still was for me. I was on an episode like a couple months, maybe a few months ago, that I can no longer have caffeine all of a sudden when I've been having coffee since I was like 10.
Yay, ballet.
So,
You can always tell a ballerina by, yeah, I started drinking coffee when I was old enough to get near the coffee maker. Fake energy that has no calories. You always know that's a ballerina.
I do still drink decaf because I'm obsessed with coffee and coffee shops. I
That's
could,
wrong. That's deeply wrong. I'm judging you.
oh, well, I don't want to have a conversation about this, but it's been summer and I love cold brew.
Oh, I'm just messing with you.
There's no decaf cold brew. That's not a thing. The other day, I went to my favorite coffee shop, and it was a new barista, and I asked for decaf iced americano, and she looked at me like I was nuts, like I was nuts. But anyway, I digress. It's a sad, it's a like a sore spot for me right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on that sore spot. I was just trying to be funny. No, I am the person who needs like caffeine in an IV just directly pumped into the veins. But I have small people who are they're not even small anymore. I don't know why I keep calling them small. They're like bigger than me usually now. But like I actually have to get up. Like even if I can't get out of bed, I at least have to parent in the mornings, and I have to parent at a high level because I have preteen who, if they are know that it's possible to take advantage, they don't necessarily are wicked about it, but they'll definitely ask things they wouldn't usually ask. So I have to at least be like clever enough to go, oh, Okay, so the thing I did to like, if there's any other parents who are like, I just can't deal with that. We set up our rules, and the answer will always be no if it wasn't asked, previously decided on, discussed. So if there's a new thing, you can't bring it to me in the morning. Like that's not okay because I will just say yes to get you out of my room. So it's, so like I found that that's the way that works. And we also keep for a quick parenting tip for anyone who's dealing with this, or if you have roommates and you're like I don't remember what we said we're going to do and not do. Google Keep is a free app. It's my favorite app. And we keep contracts on the app. So I have a home section where I can keep all of the, or if you're an Apple person, you can do this on Notes. The thing I like about Keep is we have a chores list that I can add people into. And I have a shopping list that will bing those people when they go to near Trader Joe's. It will like go, hey, pick this up. That'd be great. Or this chore is due by this time, and it can ring on their phones. So that's my little like how to handle like contracts and chore stuff from bed. That's life saving.
Nice. Yeah, I'm starting to think of all these different products and tools.
Can you tell how like tech I am? I'm like, here's the apps for this. Here's the device that works for this.
I'm writing them down. We will put them in the show notes and more
Yay.
bonus ones we did not discuss on here. Uh, is there anything else um, for you since you're in bed for longer periods of time that maybe I would not think of?
Think of for what? For like product or for
I think you just in general, but sure, we can. Let's say a product, something that you find yourself your go-to. I know your iPad's a big one, but other than your
I know, I'm like I'm so bad at spending money, but like tech and books are kind of my like everyone has like a blind spot on what they spend money on, and they don't count it as like I'm spending a lot of money on this. Like for my husband, it's food. He loves good food, and like he will spend a psychotic amount of money on a lunch, and I'm like, what are you doing? But mine's books. Like if I go into a bookstore, I'm like, that doesn't count, right? Like books, those are okay to buy at any time. And I tend to it's the thing that pisses me off about being disabled is it's expensive. It is so expensive to be sick. And like when we bought the car, it was like I would have loved to have gotten a used car. I don't see the point in buying a new car, but I needed all this technology in the car so that I would have a chance to drive it. So we had to buy this ridiculously expensive car that I'm like, I don't want to be that person. So that drives me nuts. But I did buy Apple, and my laptop I had to get because I can't sit at my desktop. So I had to get that, which has been amazing. I got so much done in like 2 days now that I don't have to sit at my desktop.
right.
But that's been really helpful is the iPad with the pencil. If you are an artist at all, it's totally worth the expenditure to get that pencil. And the Procreate app is one of my favorite things ever. Worst name for an app, but one of the best art apps. Like the app, I don't think it's more than like $6. But like seriously, if you have like here's my parenting tip from bed with toddlers is arts and crafts in bed is great if you have an iPad. All you have to do is just put Procreate out there, and it's like it's a complicated program if you want it to be, or it's as simple as finger painting. And they can experiment with any color. Like there's all the color wheels and any medium, and they can make a huge mess that exists in digital space. That is like the most awesome thing ever when you are stuck in bed. iPad parenting. I do a lot of iPad parenting.
iPad parenting.
Yeah, my daughter makes these incredible movies on her iPad. She creates these cool characters and then she writes these very intricate stories and turns them into movies. So she and I will do a lot of like curling up next to each other, and I'll be writing or I'll be drawing a new character and she'll be doing her stuff. And I know it's like that whole idea of like the evil idea of like the parent is in the screen, the child is in the screen, and this is awful. This is what we should fight against. And it's like, actually, we're really enjoying each other and we're curled up together listening to the same music and we're making cool stuff together. I love that time. And we also do Pinterest together. And that's like I know Pinterest is like a love-hate thing for people because like it just is too much pressure. I just kind of find it like I'm like, oh, when I'm healthier, I can do this. When I have a good day, I actually do keep a list of what I want to do for good days, which I highly recommend because they're few and far between. So it's like I just make a list of everything I want to do and it's okay. And then I don't like feel like I'm running around trying to figure out what would be fun.
I think that's just a great idea in general, is having this ongoing list of good days versus bad days. I don't know if you want to name it that, because day obviously sounds pretty negative, but
Oh, I have like swear words in my list of like
sure, I'm sure. I just started imagining some of them. But yeah, having it so that it's a go-to. It's like, yay, I get to do these things today because I'm in bed. Um, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't think it is ridiculous actually to say, yay, I get to do this. Because if I was to give one message, this is what I like to do at the end of my episodes, is what's like one message you could bestow upon our listeners. For me, that would be, do everything that you love that you can do and not focus on the things you can't do. There are lots of things we still love, whether they include physically moving at all or not, that we can do from bed, and that's different for everybody. But we love certain things, and that might be talking, it might be just being in our mind and meditating. There
mm,
are so many things. We all love experiences in this world, and there are many of them, as you can see from our conversation, that can be done from bed. And we are just scratching the surface. It's not just friends and drawing. There are there
reading books,
right. There's
watching Doctor Who.
so much to do, but the the main takeaway, I hope, is that it can it can still be a positive experience, a very positive experience. It just is the reality of that time. That's your new normal at that time. And so you have good things that happen during that new normal. It just
Well
might
said.
a normal that you chose.
Well said. Are we
And
signing off with that? Because we could totally sign off with that.
yeah, I think it's in place.
Mm, excellent. Then be kind, be gentle, be badass even from bed.
All right. See you guys on the 200th episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Invisible Not Broken podcast, our 100th to be exact. If you haven't already, please take the next 30 seconds to do these 3 things. Hit that subscribe button, tap those pretty little stars to give us a rating, and share with one spoony friend. Stay tuned for next week when I interview Jenny Grover, aka the Chronic Babe. We're going to be talking about creative resilience. If you ever have suggestions, comments, critique, your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. I want to take a second to thank all of you for listening, subscribing, commenting, sharing. Without you, this podcast wouldn't exist. Monica and I love every moment of every interview that we record, and the spoons it costs us are totally worth it. Until next time, everyone, be kind, be gentle, be badass.